They used to have one called Prince Harry, but they've just scrapped that recently. Backwards to it, and it makes it look like it's going to hit you. Yeah. There's another one coming the other way. This is so exciting. The two drivers of these trains didn't do a very good job. They ended up going through walls. Where shall we go today? Where shall we go? Where do you want to go today? Let's explore the National Railway Museum. Now here I am. And just to prove it's not the Titanic that we saw in Liverpool. It's not. We're in New York. And this isn't the Titanic. This is a railway train. And it's a very, very long railway train. And it's got very, 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 very big. I can actually walk underneath the railway train and the wheels and everything, because this train is huge. It's bigger than the train that is littler than it. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that nut there. Look at that nut there. Look at that nut. That is a big nut. You need a big spanner to put that nut in. But you wouldn't be a spanner if you did that, because if you did it wrong, you could crash the train. And then when we get to the front of the train, look how big it is. It's even got steps at the front because people can't climb up to it. And then it's got a massive big light on it like that, and you can do that, train's coming, like that thing. It's really good. It's like science fiction, but it's not fiction or science. Here I'm on the other side. I've just noticed it's not actually that big because you can see right through it. Half job Americans. Right, we're on board this massive train from America. We've got the actual American driver here who's going to tell us something about how it works. So, sir, how does the train work?
You see, you gotta pull these handles. Where's my choo-choo handle? Hang on, I can't find my hand. I lost my choo-choo handle. Ronald!
Oh, he's gone. Anyway, apparently you pull the choo-choo handle and it just goes. I don't know how it stops, but anyway. It's not complicated at all, because all these dials and things behind me, they're all numbered with nothing, so you have to guess what they do. Although we're at a railway museum here in York, there is a Spitfire engine here. And this is the Spitfire engine. This is a genuine engine out of a Spitfire aeroplane, and that's here as well today. So there's not just trains to see, you can see Spitfire engines. There's so much to see here at National Railway Museum, York. If big trains are your thing, they're not really my thing, but let's be honest, it is quite pretty. We've got this one named after an old magazine called the Evening Star, which was a star magazine that come in during the 1972s and was really popular for a while. And look, you've got the front of it there where they put all the steam in. That's where they put the steam in at the front. So they open that up and they put the steam in there, and then the train goes choo 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 and off it goes. So you learn stuff on this channel as well. It's not all about, facts and everything. Oh my word. This train here, which is number 3, although I still put it higher than the one that's got number 1 written on it, because that was a bit rubbish, wasn't it? It's like a rocket, but without the rocket. Is number 3 Furness Railway. But look at all the copper on it. You could weigh that in. God, that must be worth at least 20 quid. And then, just to prove that steam engines didn't always get it right, look at this one here. This is a massive steam engine. And you know what I said before about they got the sizes wrong, everything was too small. Well, they went the wrong way with this one. This one is taller than my house. So you couldn't get it on a track because they didn't have any tracks. To be fair, they should have invented the tracks before they invented the trains, but they didn't. But just in case, that could have been the size of our trains, and we'd be like 85 foot up in the air when we're on them. And we keep having our heads chopped off every time we went under a bridge, because the bridges are a lot lower. So it's quite dangerous, which is why it never caught on. This train here is a very, very old train indeed. It was made in 1982. And it's actually not completely finished yet because it's got holes in it yet. It's a bit like an Airfix kit, but a full-size Airfix kit. And they've not managed to find all the pieces. Maybe they've lost one of the panels with all the bits on it. Because, look, there's nothing there, and that should be something. And it's not, it's nothing. So, that's why it's here, because they can't finish it until they find the bits. So if you've got the bits that are missing from this, can you please get in touch with the National Railway Museum so they can finish it and then get this thing out of here? Because it's taking up valuable space. They could have a big train in here, a diesel or something. And here's another train that's been kind of unceremoniously unfinished. I mean, the Airfix kits they must buy for around here, apart from being very big, mustn't be very good, because this is the second train I've seen that isn't finished yet. Look at all these pipes. Yet there's loads of pipes there that have got nothing attached to them because they haven't got them because they've lost them. So again, if you're sitting on the bits of this train that they need to finish it, can you please get in touch so that they can get rid of this monstrosity and put something prettier in here, like a nice diesel from the 1970s, or a Pacer train. A Pacer train will look nicer than this, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. They're them lovely ones that look like a really crap bus on the train lines where everyone moans about them. But this one isn't finished, so we really need to get you here to finish this one off. So get the bits here now, please. Thank you. When I was little, my favourite train that I had was one of these, which was an Intertown Express train with a big pointy bit at the front, but it was a flat pointy bit, and apparently that caused problems with the design, more so because they couldn't put those things on that they have on the front of trains, which is like these here, which are like them. They couldn't have them on them because it didn't make it pointy anymore and it would slow it down too much, so that's why. But again, you can do that thing about a train coming at you, like that, you see, only it's not, obviously, it's acting. This was built at 1942, which is about 20 to 8 in the evening. So they've done well to build it. I mean, it's not quite finished yet. They haven't finished painting it and the panel work's a bit beaten. But I mean, it's not bad for something that's only been built for less than a day. This is quite a sad part. This is a memorial wall to all the trains that have died. Just take a minute or two to contemplate that fact. It's very sad. I mean, obviously they don't die because they're not alive, but they're no longer with us. Not that they were ever with me, because they died before I was born, probably. But look, they're the special ones. They're like the royalty ones. It's very sad and tragic. One of my favourite songs of the 80s was Prince Charming, although we used to sing Don't Read Dandy, Don't Read Dandy. No, show me... What I can't remember what we sang now, but it mentioned dandy. And this is a dandy cart. And it's actually quite rubbish, because all they did was stand a horse in it, which would jump out as soon as you moved. I think the horse is moving. It's that speaker up there, one thing or the other anyway. But it's right next to the memorial wall. The memorial wall, which is the best wall in the world. And this should be in the memorial as well. Look at the state of this train. I mean, this is like 4th class train. We've seen 1st class. We've seen 3rd class, well this is 4th class, which is a bit sad really. It's very upsetting, and you get a bit emotional actually thinking about this. But never once to seize an opportunity. You can always look at this part here and think, to me that looks black, but to you that looks green. How does that work? Must be the Harry Potter train. It's magic. Now, have you ever taken poorly on a train? It didn't matter.
There are more men to be carried than the beds can hold. Every available square foot of space is needed and stretches right down the central corridor.
It's haunted. I hear dead people. It's one of them there, in those chairs. You can see them moving. Oh my god, that's scary. I'm getting out of here. I don't like ghosts. It's a bit safer down this end. Ah, here we go. It's much nicer down here. Oh, I can still hear dead people though. Well, this carriage is more of an office. It's got a pretend chest of drawers there on the wall. Can you see it there? Pretend chest of drawers, a real table. But you can't pick the stuff up because there's glass on it. And then it's got a little desk as well, but no chair. So again, they kind of thought things through, but then they didn't think things through at the same time. And I'm not sure about the bulbs either. They're quite bright, but they're... yeah. Anyway, at least I don't hear dead people as much in this one as I do in the last carriage. That freaked me out. Stood outside the train, and here we see a ghost of... this is like Most Haunted. Yeah, she's looking at me and I'm looking at her. That ghost there, and she's gone again. Tell you what, I wouldn't mind, but it's got a cross on it, but still it's possessed by the devil. I'm getting out of here. There are way too many trains like this one here to actually do individually. You need to come here to see them all yourself. There's that one there as well, and then there's that one, and then there's this weird one, which is it is a strange one, doesn't it? It's almost like it's from a foreign town or country, a bit like that one, which looks like the back end of a Volkswagen Beetle. And I hate Volkswagen Beetles, so I don't like this train either, because it looks too much like the back end of a Volkswagen Beetle. So the guy just abused it then by smacking it, and I don't blame him. says no smoking. To be fair, if it was modern times now, it'd be like no vaping, because that kills you as much as smoking does, if not more, probably. Oh, look, here's a post office train as well, from the 1930s. It's a bit rubbish though, because there's just nothing to it really. You know, it's like you've got all the beautiful stuff going on the ground, and you've got nothing. And then you look at this, and this is the train that dug the Channel Tunnel. This actual train dug the Channel Tunnel. You can tell because it says there, Channel Tunnel, dug by this train, and that's why it looks like a bag of spanners, because it's done a lot of work. That train dug the Channel Tunnel. But don't forget, don't go on it, because there's a bit over there that's kind of essential to it. So if you're doing your filming, and you're doing your, you know, getting hit by a train thing for the comedy, you can also go under a train, so you can pretend like that as you're getting splattered for the movies that you're making, because this is really underneath a train. Oh, it says there, this is a working train. Well, it's very quiet then, it must be electric, because I can't hear it. I can hear something now, but I can't hear that. So there you go then. This is what it looks like under a train when you're doing your movies, your disaster movies or your De Niro movies. You can pretend to hang on as well like that, and then pretend you're being dragged along like that, you see, by the train, and then you get up because you're the hero and you're like, yeah, look at that, I've got out from under the train, and look at that, you see, I'm still in one piece and the train's still there as well. This train is unique in the fact that it's got a printing press on it, which I've never seen before on a train. I've seen some things on a train. I've seen like old men on trains, I've seen dogs on trains, and I've also seen like an office on a train as well. But this one has got a printing press on it. Look, that is a printing press for pressing printings with. Very impressive. Back in the very old days, I used to watch a really rubbish cartoon that had a really rubbish character on it called a Push Me Pull You, and it was an animal with two heads, one either side of its body, and it only had four legs, and it was really peculiar, and it never knew which way it was going, whether it was going forward or backwards, and it always had an argument with itself. But here we've got a train that's a Push Me Pull You as well. So we've got the that's the Push Me, and that's the Pull You part. So it's a Push Me Pull You train. So it's actually a bit cooler than the cartoon was. I'll be honest with you, the cartoon was pants. But look at that, that's a really cool train, because it's got, you don't have to turn it round. And it's quite difficult to turn a train round unless you've got one of them big disc things they've got over there, which I didn't show you because I couldn't be arsed. Here, that green there, that green paint on that train can only mean one thing. That is the Scottish Express, the flying Scottish flyer. That is that train because of that colour. That only one train in the world is allowed to be that colour, and that is it. And that is it. So you've seen it now here at National Railway Museum in York. Here we see lots of little models of trains. There's quite a lot of them. They're everywhere. I mean, literally, there's walls and walls and walls of them. But on the other side of the corridor that we're on, you've got all these which are like real bits out of trains, like posh chairs and chairs and stools and model trains. I don't know why. And then you've even got the big sign things that they have to show the trains what they're doing. You know, things that flap around, like, you know, when your arm's blowing in the wind because it's windy. You've even got them, but they're not blowing anywhere. And then you've got the lights, and then you've got model trains again, more model trains. You see the reflection, there's loads of trains coming on the other side, and then you've got lamps and everything else. It's like a myriad. It's like a autopsy of trains. It's making me feel quite sick actually, because I'm seeing the inside of trains, and it's like looking at hearts and lungs and livers, and oof, not my thing. Now I know, again, some people don't really get stuff, but even I know that papyrus is made out of paper. It's not made out of metal. That's metal, not papyrus. You couldn't write on that, or they have, because they've written papyrus. So maybe I'm wrong. There's a sign there for Ongar, which sounds like somewhere I need to go on a Let's Explore video at some point in the future. And look, there's a ship there, which is somewhere I've already been on a Let's Explore video. If you look at the Liverpool ones that we did on the Let's Visits, because it's the same thing, let's be honest. And look at that, there's even a post box there, because they invented the posties. And there's a post box, the first ever post box made of wood. Tell it's made of wood, because when you go, it doesn't make a metally noise, it makes a woody noise. Well, the most exciting piece of history we found today is an unopened original can of Irn-Bru, full fat sugar from the 1990s. Wow. What I'd give to open that and not drink it because I don't like Irn-Bru. But I know people who would. I'm not one of them though. I know them either because they're all dead now, I would have thought. It's a shame really. But, you know, there'd be no room if everyone was still alive, so they're dead as well probably. This train is very shy because it's hiding behind a wooden skirt because it doesn't want anyone to see its feet. But I can look. Oh, you can't see. Even if you look over, you can't see its feet. So it works. But the front of the train's not bothered. It's like, you know what? You can have a look on my control deck thing. It's a bit like the Starship Enterprise, only without the stars and the Enterprise and stuff. And steering wheel. There's no steering. I don't understand why there's no steering wheel on these things. How are they supposed to go around corners without a steering wheel? It's ridiculous. You've got these little wheels, but they're not going to be steering wheels, are they? I mean, they all look the same to me, these wheels. So how do you know what you're doing? And where do you put the fire? And where do you put the steam? It's all confusing. That there is a sign for an underground railway station. I can't think of anything else to say about it. My favourite kind of trains are diesel trains because the black smoke that come out of them was beautiful to see on a country's day. And this one here is a very special one because it's got a thistle on the front, which is the patron saint of France. So this is a French train from Fancyland. And you've also got this one as well, which is the first 2000 HP diesel which went from London to Norwich. I know that because it says it on the front, but I knew that anyway because I'm a genius. We can do the train's coming at me thing, like that, you see. It's really good, it works really well. It's good if you're on a low budget, but we're doing it with a special train because this, ladies and gentlemen, is possibly my 14th favourite train of all time, and I've only got 5 favourite ones. This is the HMS Mallard, which sailed from somewhere to somewhere else on a regular basis, and it's massive and it's dead streamlined and everything. It's really cool. And look, it's even got a big box at the back for the coal, and there's a man in there, the actual driver who drove it when he was driving trains back in the day. It's fantastic, so streamlined. The HMS Mallard here at the National Museum of Trains thing in York. Mallard. It's like a fish. That's what it's named after, a fish, the mallard fish. When the drivers and everyone got bored, they had a little slide they could play in the back of the train, so they could have a little go on the slide if they got bored whilst the train was going somewhere. And if you wanted to as well, you could have a look down the funnel. And let's be honest, everyone likes looking down someone's funnel, especially in mallards, that famous fish. Before we were on the haunted carriage thing of the hospital, but this is a hospital for trains, and this is where poorly trains come to get fixed. So for example, that one down there is poorly, so it's having a complete transplant of everything, and all its bits and guts are out there, and there's one there as well and one there, and they're all poorly, and they're all being fixed by the lovely people who work here. Isn't that nice? This is the inside of a signal books. It says it there. The inside of one of them. Signal books. And what you did was you pulled the levers like that, and you put them backwards and forwards, and it steered the trains, which is why the trains don't have steering wheels, because men and women in boxers at the side of the track would steer your train from you. I mean, that's dangerous. I wouldn't let someone steer my car if they weren't in my car. But apparently trains, they do it all the time. So these levers here, you pull them and you steer a train. It's ridiculous. Not safe, is it? And this is a viewing platform, so you can look at some tracks like these tracks behind me that are real tracks that are really working at the moment. So it's none of this history stuff. This is the history of the future, but it's now. So it's history of the future, but in the present. So I can talk about this, unlike the stuff I can't talk about because I wasn't around. So this is a train station, and trains go in and out and they go to different places. You see the bibs over there? Well, that's the building that people stand under so they don't get wet when it's raining. And I'd see my knowledge is vast. And then they get on a train and sit down on what they call a seat in one of the big long boxes with wheels on. And then the thing at the front pulls it to wherever they want to go, assuming they've got on the right one. But more often than not, you get on the wrong one. And when you get on the wrong one, then you end up going somewhere you don't want to go. And then you have to explain to someone that you've got a ticket for the wrong place. And then you get put in prison. And then that's it. So trains now are a bit more complicated than they were back in the days where the trains in the museum. Just in case you're thinking I'm not in the museum anymore, look, there's the museum. That's the museum there. But this is the history of the future, which is the current present at the time of recording. If you watch this 100 years' time, this is history as well. because you probably won't have trains or even a planet to live on by 100 years from now. Just saying, hashtag. If you still do hashtags in 100 years, you probably don't, because you're probably all dead anyway. I'll shut up now and wait for a train. Okay, I'm bored. In a bit. It's interesting to note as well that trains also invented the Blackpool Tower. It actually was meant to be a train track, but what happened was they put the things the wrong way around and ended up going upwards instead of along. So that's why the Blackpool Tower's there. And they also invented as well, which I think I've said before, they invented traffic lights, but these ones are rubbish because they've got 2 amber, and that's confusing for anyone. So when the roadie people come along, they changed the traffic lights, so they actually made sense by only having red, amber and green and none of this 2 amber crap. Because what does that mean? And that red looks pink. It is red to me, but to you it's pink. And then they had one of these things which go up and down like that, which means something to someone, but I don't know who. So you've only got 1 amber, now you've got 2. It doesn't make sense. That's why they had to change it, because otherwise there'd be too many crashes on the road. I'm surprised there weren't many crashes on the railway lines, to be honest. If you brought your kids with you, there's the toys that they can play on as well, which is this one, which is, I don't know what it's doing. Let's have a look.
What's it doing?
It's moving something. Oh, that's wheels. The wheels are moving, lad. The wheels are
By
moving.
the time it's got there, they've invented the car.
They have invented the car already, so you're right. Right, okay, so it goes there. Does it go up then?
It does.
Oh.
And I'm doing nothing but pressing one button.
Excellent.
Making trains is easy.
Now, if you hear that noise coming from your mum's bedroom, just remember that she's making trains.
It's done.
Thank you. That was brilliant, that. Well done, lad. Now, lad, if you hear this noise as well coming from your mum's bedroom, she's just doing some drilling. There's a gift shop here that sells things like beer called Rockets, because there's an aeroplane over there that's called the Rocket that looks like a train. But they also have t-shirts that say One Track Mind, which kind of implies whoever wears it is thinking about sex. But obviously they're not, because they're probably into train spotting and they don't do sex. Here's another posh train. Look at that. You can actually get served in here. This is a restaurant, cafe. And look, they've got like things where they do stuff, and then down here they do stuff. There's a model in there as well, pretending to use a computer and all other bits and pieces. So if you want a meal, you can do a lot worse than come here. Unlike the Manchester Museum shop, this one isn't the size of a planet, but it is still quite substantial. It kind of goes on all the way down there, so it's actually quite big. So if you want to buy some little gifts and toys and stuff like that, and t-shirts that kind of imply that you might be interested in Rumpy Pumpy when you're not really, just want to look at trains, you do a lot worse than come to these this lovely shop here in the National Museum in York for trains. One of the best things I've ever seen ever is a ticket dog. It's a dog that you get your tickets from. Look, it's got a ticket machine on top. You just have to be honest. It is a dog, by the way. It's not cruel to keep it in there. It's already dead. I mean, it's cruel to kill it to put it in there, but it's not cruel now because it's already dead, so don't worry about it. Many places like this, there's something for the kids to do. So, what are you doing? Are you pushing a coin?
I'm getting a train.
It's getting a train. It's getting a train. Let's have a look. I missed it last time.
It's my cardio, my monthly cardio.
There we go. What does that one look like?
It's I don't know what train it is, but it's a train.
It's a train. Let's have a look.
It's a choo-choo train.
Choo-choo train. There you go. It's a choo-choo train. That is the. It's a train. Yeah, track. In fact, I think you picked the wrong one.
I didn't. There's only one train.
Yeah, you're walking home. And if your kids get bored, there's always another one. What are you doing? You're driving a train?
Yeah, another one.
Oh, you're driving a train?
No, it's more of a car. I don't think trains have wheels.
Of course they have wheels, otherwise they wouldn't move on the track. Have you not learnt anything?
Did it? It's a long time. That one up.
You know what, stuff it, you are walking home. If you want to come to York Museum, you can see